love letters, part 2. As many of you probably have already seen, we released about a week ago a video called Buyer Love Letters. Before watching this video, you should definitely watch part 1, which fully explains what a buyer love letter is, what the potential issues and what the potential liabilities are when using these letters, all those things. Watch that first video. Also important to know is, for the purposes of that first video, when we were talking about buyer love letters, we were really talking about love letters that weren't actually part of an offer. In other words, they might have been submitted at the same time as the offer or just after an offer, but either way, they weren't actually an incorporated term of the offer to purchase real estate. So let's talk now about the questions we've heard after publishing that first video. Some questions have been posed. Well, Gabe, what happens if a buyer love letter or paragraphs that could be construed as a buyer love letter are actually incorporated into the buyer's fully integrated offer? And let's talk about that just a little bit. You know, as a realtor, generally speaking, that you have an obligation to present all offers, right? And to deliver offers. And as a listing agent, once you receive an offer from a prospective purchaser, you have an obligation to timely present all offers to your client. Now, what happens if that offer has a love letter in it? Well, on the one hand, while you have an agency duty, generally speaking, to make your seller aware of all those offers, of course, you don't have fiduciary duties to help them carry out illegal activity. On the flip side, though, if they have that offer and you present it to them and it has something that could be construed as a love letter within it, you need to make sure that they fully understand what the ramifications of that letter are. That those letters, while they might appear to have maybe some non-discriminatory purposes, in effect, if they are targeting or if they are mentioning protected classes, a seller could be violating fair housing laws if they are accepting an offer for a discriminatory purpose. You have to have that conversation with your seller if you receive an offer that has that letter in it. With that being said, make sure if a seller accepts an offer that could have some language in it that appears to be a love letter, document your conversations. Make sure you have made them aware of the issues and make sure there is an objective reason as to why they have accepted that offer. Because keep in mind, the first video never was intended to say that price means everything. There might be situations where price isn't the deciding factor. However, a seller cannot use a discriminatory purpose based on protected classes as a basis for accepting one offer over another. So keep that issue in mind. Another concern or question that was raised was, well, Gabe, what if we don't use any descriptive language within the love letter? Or, what if we don't implicate any of the protected classes? And again, I think the video made it very clear the first time around that it's very hard to write a letter without implicating a protected class. But maybe there's something like, you write a paragraph that says, we really love the bushes that are in the front yard. That doesn't seem to be implicating a protected class. That being said, if that quickly has changed to my wife and I really like the bushes that are in your front yard and we'd love to have those at our house, now you have arguably implicated the protected class, which is implicating fair housing law. So just understand those nuances. Finally, how do you avoid all this? You have these conversations right away at the very beginning of your first contact with your client. If you're representing a buyer in this hot market, you help them to understand that we are going to do everything in your power to get the house of your dreams. We're going to do everything we can within the law to be competitive to get that offer, but you have to understand, client, that I, as a realtor, am obligated to follow fair housing laws. Our code of ethics requires us to follow to provide equal professional services to everyone, and I cannot be a part of any plan or be part of something that is trying to get you to get a house for a reason that violates fair housing laws. Have those conversations up front, and again, if they're demanding that there be a letter, just don't participate in it, have them deliver it, just be very careful in those situations. On the flip side, as a listing agent, before you even sign that listing agreement, when you're having that first meeting, make sure they understand love letters. Make sure they understand fair housing. Make sure they understand they cannot accept a house for a reason that's discriminatory in nature. maybe you and your client can have a discussion on the front side, and you and your client can agree in writing that they don't want to be presented any love letters at all. Get that written consent on the front side of the transaction to mitigate your risk later down the road. Have these conversations early. And as always, as we know you always do, continue doing the right thing, continue upholding the integrity of this profession, and please let us know if you have any other questions.